Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to share with you 6 financial mistakes that people often make in their 20s and 30s and that can cost them a lot for their financial well-being throughout their entire life. In fact, I made one of these specific mistakes that I'm going to talk about in today's video, and I took a lot of loss, and I have been taking a lot of loss, and I will continue to take a lot of loss because of this financial mistake. I had made a separate video on this, so you can check it somewhere here. And please listen to this video till the very end, and please listen to all these points very carefully, because even if you can avoid making one single mistake, just one single mistake, it can help you save a lot of money throughout your life, and your financial life will become much smoother. So with that said, let's get the video started, and just a very quick request, please hit the like button, hit it now, so that this video reaches out to more people and makes them more financially educated. So the first key mistake that I would like to speak to you about is that people in their 20s and 30s do not buy health or life insurance. Now you would say, Akshat, this is like super boring one. Why are you talking about health and life insurance? It's such a complicated topic. We don't want to buy it. Okay, please hear me out. This is one of the key mistakes that even I made in my life, that I did not buy a term insurance in my 20s. And now the premiums of my term insurance are much higher than I would have paid in my 20s. So I would continue to pay for this mistake throughout my life. So don't be like me and don't make this mistake. Please buy a health and life insurance. Why do I say it? Because the first and foremost step in financial planning is that you must mitigate your risk completely. Only then talk about savings, investments and all that. Savings and investments are very important. I keep giving you a lot of tips on how I am investing, and I encourage all of you to invest. But first and foremost step in financial planning, or financial planning from a personal finance perspective, is that please buy a health and term insurance. Why? Because you might save a lot, you might invest a lot, you might be excelling at your work. But one corona-like pandemic and it can wipe out the financial savings of all your family. I am sure that many of us know a lot of people who know families who have suffered because of COVID-19 and their entire financial well-being was wiped out because they did not have a health insurance or term insurance. So please don't make such a mistake, because you can save all day long, you can invest, get massive returns, but one brutal event, it can wipe out your investments and savings. So please consider insurance to be critical. Few of the key problems that you will face in terms of buying a health insurance and term insurance is: what cover should I buy? What network hospital should I take? What kind of diseases should be covered? There are so many questions, and it's extremely complicated to buy a health or term insurance. So please don't simply go on any random website and buy a health insurance or term insurance, because it can prove to be very costly for you, because you get stuck with these health and term insurances. So there is a website called as Ditto. It's started by my friend Pawan. Please go check that website out. I advocate it because they allow you to do a free, absolutely free phone call and speak with a healthcare expert. So get that customized understanding so that you can buy the right health insurance and term insurance. So you can check the link in the description box and schedule the call. The second key mistake that people make in their 20s and 30s is that they undertake lifestyle inflation. So let's quickly understand that what lifestyle inflation is. So lifestyle inflation simply means that you have entered the rat race of buying a bigger car, bigger house, bigger this, bigger that, and you are in that materialistic race. You go to office, you come back home, you receive a salary at the end of the month, and you sit and decide what next thing to buy. Completely wrong approach towards life, because there is no end to buying a bigger car or a bigger house. You can buy a 2 crore house. 5 years down the line, you will say that, okay, now I need a 5 crore house. Then you will say that, hey, I need a penthouse. I need a house in Portugal. I need a house in Spain. Very interesting fact that Johnny Depp, he actually bought an entire village in France, somewhere in France. Now he's looking to sell that off. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is that if you get into this materialistic race of buying more and more and more stuff without even thinking about it, you have undertaken something called as lifestyle inflation. This is a key mistake that many of us make. You would say, Akshat, you know what? You are a millionaire and you earn a lot of money. But then what's the point of you earning so much money if you're not spending money? Okay, first and foremost, I'm sitting in a 5-star hotel shooting this video. I frequently go out, I travel abroad, I spend money on things that I enjoy. But before taking any big ticket expense, for example, if I'm looking to buy a house or if I'm looking to invest my money in any big ticket item, I will think a lot, I will research a lot, and then only I'm going to invest my money. I'm not saying that don't go and buy iPhone 13, go and buy all means. Go and buy it only if you have savings up to that point, right? Don't go and buy all this stuff on an EMI just because there is like no cost EMI associated, this, that, some cashback offer going on, because those are all tactics of you getting to buy more and get into that race of lifestyle inflation. Be a mindful spender in conjunction with how much you are making, right? For example, if you're a student, if you go and buy an iPhone, probably that's a wrong step for wide variety of reasons that you understand. But if you're a 40-year-old director at some Fortune 500 company buying an iPhone, cool, right? Because it might form a very small part of your salary. So it's completely fine to buy an iPhone when you're 40. So please be mindful in terms of the expenses that you're undertaking. That's A. B. Please make sure that whenever you're purchasing a big ticket item, big ticket items are buying a very expensive car or buying a house, please do your due diligence, thorough analysis, understand why are you buying that house. Is it from an investment point of view? Is it from a just living point of view? I have made a separate video on house buying, so please watch it. You will understand more. But I hope you get the point that don't at least engage in lifestyle inflation. Try to prevent that urge for as long as possible. Now, the third mistake that people usually make in their 20s and 30s is that they don't create an emergency fund. So what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is actually a fund that is used for emergencies. Duh, right? So that's like so obvious. But you need to define what kind of emergencies you might have in your life, right? I'm stressing on the word you might have in your life, because for some people, the emergency might be supporting their parents. If their parents are not well off or are not earning and are dependent on you. So that can be an emergency that you might have to support your parents with their medical expenses, health expenses, etc. Emergency could also be that your son or daughter are turning 16, 17 and you need to send them abroad. So you need to have fund from that angle. Emergency in most of our cases would be that, hey, if I am fired from my job, then what? What am I going to do? I need to have a little bit of money collected so that my household does not struggle. So it is generally recommended that you have 6 to 12 months of savings intact. So in case you get fired from your job, you can actually go back to the job market for 6 to 12 months, look for a job and then again get back on that bandwagon of making money so that you can feel a little bit safe. But this 6 to 12 month measure is not really right, because it really depends on your lifestyle inflation, your current lifestyle, your lifestyle inflation, and to what extent you can cut down your lifestyle inflation to. Let me give you an example. So let's say that if you are working in Gurgaon and your current expense is 50-60,000 and for some reason you lose your job, you know you can bring down your expenses to let's say 30,000. Then you probably do not need to save 12 months of your salary. Saving only 6 months of your salary might make sense. On the flip side, if you have very fixed type of necessary expenditures. For example, let's say that you're a family man, you have a son or daughter going to a school, you have to pay that school fee. Similarly, if you have purchased a house, you have to pay the EMI and bunch of other different things. If that core component comes out to be 50-60,000, then of course you would need a bigger emergency fund. So understand creating an emergency fund from a necessary expense point of view. Now do not confuse your emergency fund with your retirement fund. Emergency fund is mostly for what? For dealing with emergencies in your life, that hey, loss of a job, loss of a family member, you can't go to work, there is some kind of wealth emergency, health emergency. So you're dealing with those kind of emergencies. Retirement fund is that hey, the money that you would need once you retire, once you stop working. So little bit of money should go in your emergency fund and little bit of money should keep going to your retirement fund also. Now the fourth mistake that people make in today's day and age is that they depend on one single source of income. Now I can't tell you how many people make this key mistake. This is a key mistake. Let me give you an example. So during the COVID time, a lot of people lost their jobs. If you have friends working at companies like Zomato, go and ask them what percentage of Zomato's workforce got fired. Yes, great. They raised an IPO, bunch of different things. Kudos, right? Brilliant. Go and ask them why did they fire so many employees and what happened to those employees. It's a churn. It's a huge churn because companies call their employees that, hey, you know what, you are our family members, this, that. And the first sign of stress or distress, COVID-like situation, what do? They fire employees. So it's very important for you to create multiple sources of income. It could be writing a simple digital ebook. It could be creating a course. It could be a bunch of different things. Explore. If you want, I'll make a separate video on creating multiple sources of income. Here is another video of mine where I talk about how I have created multiple sources of income. You can watch it. Probably it will give you more ideas. But bottom line is that please don't rely on one single job in this day and age. especially in a startup culture, because startups tend to fire people very, very quickly. All they care about, honestly, a majority of the startups care about valuations. That's it. So please don't believe even for a second that, hey, if some COVID-like situation happens, your company or your startup is going to support you. They have investors and they have a bunch of people that they need to answer to. So you are responsible for yourself. You have to create parallel sources of income. If you don't do it, then your financial well-being will always be under threat. Now, one side point that I would like to address here is that many of you have reached out to me and said that, hey, Akshat, it's like super difficult to create like multiple sources of income. How can we do it? We are already in a job. We don't get time. Okay. What you need to understand is that in this day and age, creating multiple sources of income has become easier than ever. It is very easy to create multiple sources of income in this day and age. There are so many ideas that you can go and experiment with. If you don't know much, just learn like basic video editing. Reach out to a bunch of people. You will 100% get editing work, right? There is no one stopping you from doing that. If you become a good editor or a good content creator, you can make that as your full-time profession. So please spend some time, energy, understanding what skill you have, what you can monetize versus not, and come up with a few ideas that you can start executing. Please do it. I really urge you, because if you just keep on relying on one source of income, you will always have that talwar hanging on your head, that sword hanging on your head that, hey, I can get fired. You will live a very stressful life. Now, the fifth mistake, and this is probably one of the biggest mistakes that people make in their 20s and 30s, is that they don't take care of their health. There is excessive drinking. Occasional drinking is fine. Please do not undertake and, start engaging in alcohol too much, especially if you can't control it. I'll not speak too much on this. This is not a moral science giving channel. You guys are smart. You will make adequate calls. I'm assuming that. But please be mindful. Please take care of your health. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a motivation talk. But simple point from a wealth point of view is that, see, when you are not healthy, when you are not active, by healthy, it does not mean that you fall ill quite frequently. That is, of course, very obvious that, hey, if you're not going to office, your performance will suffer, your career will suffer. Very obvious stuff. That even from day-to-day activity point of view, if you're not active, if you do not feel energized from inside, you will always feel lethargic, lazy. Forget about creating parallel sources of income. You might even struggle to complete your primary jobs. So, therefore, it is very important for you to engage in some sort of activity, physical activity, so that you keep yourself fit. Also assume that these days, generally speaking, the lifespan of people is going up. Even if you are unhealthy, probably people who might be dependent on you, they might be healthy and they might live a very long life. Do you want them to live a very unwealthy life, so to say? Because if they are depending on you, you are unhealthy, you are not taking care of your health, and if something happens to you when you are 50, right, and your wife or your kids, they end up living till like 70, 80 and they need your support, but you're not there to support them. It becomes a complex thing for your family. So think about them. Again, not a moral science channel, so be smart about it. All I would simply urge you to do is that figure out some form of physical activity that you enjoy and engage with it on continuous basis. Not asking you to do like every day 2-hour gym and all that stuff. No, just do like 10-15 minutes of HIIT exercises. This is what I do. Just Google it. You will love it, especially if you are a very busy person like me. 10-15 minutes of it 5-6 times a week, good enough, right? It helps you strengthen your body and keeps you active and energized. Now, sixth and final mistake that according to me, people in their 20s and 30s make is not following the 80-20 rule. Now, what is an 80-20 rule? Now, 80-20 rule is taught to us when we work in consulting, and it simply means that to generate 80% of results on anything, on literally anything, all you need to do is that put 20% of effort in the right direction, right? 80% results just from 20% of the efforts. This is a rule that you should follow for literally everything. Let me give you an example. So for example, let's say that you have not studied anything during your undergrad semester examination and then you are left with like 3-4 days to study for a subject. What is the 80-20 rule that you can incorporate here? All you need to do to pass the exam is go and solve the last 10-year question papers. You don't need to study any books, just solve last 10-year question paper and most likely you will clear the exam. Tell me if I am correct about this. So this is an 80-20 rule principle. So this same principle should be applied to a wide range of things that you're doing. For example, many of us struggle to enter the stock market. We imagine that, when the this particular stock reaches the 200 DMA, when the market is at the right level, when it falls to like 7,500, only then I will invest. I do not know enough about investing. I do not know about this technicals, that technicals. I do not have enough understanding, this, that, right? So you'll give all sorts of excuses and you will never, ever, ever enter the stock market, and you will keep putting your money in an FD or savings bank account and you will keep making 2 to 6% interest, which is really bad. You also understand that it's bad. Better thing is follow the 80-20 principle. Just pick up, do basic stuff that you can do. For example, figure out 10-15 companies that you know about, that you feel confident about. Go and invest a little bit of money. That's 80-20. You don't need to sit and analyze all the stocks that are out there. Listen to 50 of my videos. You will get decent level understanding on how to play in the stock market. I'm not saying that you will learn everything. No, absolutely not. Stock markets are much more complex. You need to keep on developing your knowledge. But at least from getting started point of view, this is something that you can do, that you can go watch 50 of my videos, make notes. Hardly it will take you 3 or 4 weekends and you'll be done. So I hope this conveys the point that follow the 80-20 rule in things like investing. Follow the 80-20 rule in terms of health. Again, please buy health insurance. Very, very important. First mitigate risk, then talk about investment, savings and all that stuff. So in summary, your financial well-being in your 20s and 30s depends on your habits of exercising, your habits of mitigating risk by buying a health insurance, life insurance, your habits of not undertaking lifestyle inflation, your habits of saving, your habits of following that 80-20% rule. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up and I will see you the next time.